Marcus was a man everyone in the neighborhood knew well, not because he was friendly or approachable, but because of his very, very short temper. He was a complicated man, brilliant in many ways, but unpredictable, with anger that flared like dry wood catching fire. People admired his sharp mind, but feared his sudden outbursts. One moment, Marcus could be calm and even charming, and the next, he could erupt into a rage so fierce that it left everyone trembling. The only person who dared to confront him was his sister, Naomi. She loved her brother dearly, but she was deeply worried about the way he treated people, especially women. Naomi often came to his house, sitting him down to talk, hoping that one day he would finally listen to her advice. "Brother?" she said one evening, her eyes full of concern as she watched him pace back and forth in the living room. "You really need to change. This temper of yours is destroying your life. How will you ever settle down, get married, and have a family if you keep behaving like this?" Marcus scoffed, waving his hand dismissively. "Naomi, calm down. The right woman will come. She will understand me, satisfy all my desires, and know how to handle me. I don't need to change for anyone." Naomi's brows furrowed in frustration. "Marcus, there is no woman on earth who will magically fix you. Relationships require patience and kindness. You can't keep hurting the women who love you and expect someone to stay. What if a man treated me the way you treat your partners? Would you stand by and do nothing?" Marcus stopped pacing and turned to her, his voice sharp. "No man would dare lay a finger on you. If anyone ever did, I would deal with him myself." "Exactly," Naomi snapped, her voice rising. "So why do you think it's okay for you to hurt women? Marcus, please listen to me. You have to change before it's too late." But Marcus only sighed and shook his head, completely unmoved. Sophia, Marcus's girlfriend at the time, tried her best to live with his moods. She was a gentle, loving woman who believed that deep down, Marcus could change if only he felt truly loved. For a while, she endured his shouting and unpredictable behavior, clinging to the hope that he would calm down. One evening, Sophia prepared dinner after a long day. She wanted everything to be perfect, but in her rush, she accidentally added too much salt to the stew. When Marcus sat down at the table and took his first bite, his entire demeanor changed. His eyes darkened, and his voice thundered through the room. "What is this?" he barked, slamming his spoon onto the table. "Are you trying to kill me with salt, Sophia?" Sophia's hands trembled as she tried to explain. I'm sorry, Marcus. It was a mistake. I didn't mean to." Before she could finish, Marcus stood up so violently that the chair toppled over. He grabbed the plate and hurled it against the wall, the food splattering everywhere. "You useless woman!" he shouted, his face twisted with rage. "How dare you serve me garbage like this?" Sophia burst into tears. "Marcus, please." It was just a little too much salt. But he wasn't listening. In his blind anger, he struck her across the face, sending her stumbling backward. It wasn't the first time Marcus had hit her, but this time, something inside Sophia broke. She realized she couldn't keep living in fear. With tears streaming down her face, she whispered, "I'm done, Marcus. I can't do this anymore." That same night, she packed her things and left, her heart shattered. When Naomi heard what had happened, she rushed to Marcus's house the next morning. She found him sitting on the couch, drinking coffee as if nothing had happened. "Marcus!" she exclaimed, her voice trembling. "What did you do?" "Sophia left because you keep hurting her. Don't you see what you've done?" Marcus rolled his eyes and took a slow sip of his coffee. "She overreacted. It was just one mistake. Women are too sensitive these days." Naomi stared at him in disbelief. "Overreacted? Marcus, you threw a plate at the wall and hit her. If a man ever treated me like that, you would lose your mind. Why can't you see that what you're doing is wrong?" Marcus set his cup down and glared at her. "Naomi, stop comparing. You're my sister. That's different." "No, it's not different." Naomi's voice cracked with emotion. "Violence is violence, no matter who it's against. You need to change, Marcus, before you end up alone, or worse, in prison." But Marcus only turned away, unwilling to admit his faults. Months passed, and Marcus met another woman, Caroline. Caroline was bold and outspoken, unlike Sophia, and at first, Marcus was drawn to her fiery spirit. Naomi even allowed herself to hope that maybe Caroline could handle Marcus and help him grow. For a while, things seemed to go well. Marcus was careful, even charming, during the early days of their relationship, but his true nature couldn't stay hidden forever. One evening, Caroline arrived 5 minutes late to meet Marcus for dinner. Just 5 minutes. When she walked in, smiling apologetically, Marcus's expression turned cold. "Do you think my time is worthless?" he growled. 5 minutes, Caroline?" 5 whole minutes you kept me waiting like a fool." Caroline blinked, startled by his anger. "Marcus, it was just traffic. Please don't make this a big deal. That was all it took." His rage exploded. He grabbed her wrist, his grip so tight it left angry red marks. "You dare talk back to me?" he shouted, his voice echoing through the restaurant. Caroline yanked her hand free, her eyes flashing with both anger and fear. "Marcus, you need serious help. This is insane!" She stormed out, leaving Marcus standing there breathing heavily. Just like Sophia, Caroline never came back. The next day, Naomi found her brother brooding in his living room. "Another woman gone," she said quietly, her heart aching. "Marcus, how many times will this happen before you realize you are the problem?" Marcus clenched his fists. "I don't need anyone who can't handle me. If they can't stay, then good riddance." Naomi sat beside him, her voice breaking. "This isn't strength, Marcus. It's weakness. You're so afraid to face your own demons that you destroy everyone who tries to love you. One day you'll wake up and find yourself completely alone." Marcus stared into the distance, silent, and though he didn't admit it, a small, unsettling thought crept into his mind. What if Naomi was right? For a long time after Caroline left, Marcus didn't have any woman in his life. It wasn't because he didn't try. He did. But the same thing happened every single time. A relationship would start well, with laughter and excitement, but it never lasted. Sometimes he didn't even get to the point of beating them. The moment Marcus raised his voice, the moment a woman saw the fire in his eyes and the sharpness of his tongue, they would pull away. They sensed the danger in his temper and it scared them. Most of his relationships didn't even last 2 months. Women would simply vanish from his life, leaving Marcus alone with his anger and confusion. At first, Marcus pretended not to care, but deep down, it bothered him. For months, he was completely alone. Naomi, his sister, often came to visit and found him sitting silently in his living room, staring at the wall or drinking by himself. She felt sorry for him, but also relieved that at least no one was getting hurt during that time. Then, one day, everything changed. Marcus met Alicia, a woman so breathtakingly beautiful that he almost couldn't believe she was real. From the very first moment he saw her, Marcus felt something he had never experienced before. Alicia was elegant, graceful, and kind. Everything about her drew him in, her laughter, her intelligence, even the way she carried herself. To Marcus, Alicia was the woman of his dreams, the one he had been waiting for all his life. From that day, Marcus became a different man. It was as though Alicia's presence forced him to tame the storm inside him. He was extremely cautious around her, careful with every word, every action. When she made small mistakes, Marcus would literally talk himself down, whispering in his mind, "Marcus, calm down. Don't ruin this. This is your woman." If she accidentally overcooked the food or misplaced something, he forced a smile, telling himself, "It's just a small mistake, nothing to get angry about." And he would let it go. At first, Naomi couldn't believe what she was seeing. She had never seen her brother behave like this before. Marcus was patient, gentle even, and incredibly protective of Alicia. One evening, Naomi sat with him in the living room and said, "Marcus, I'm very proud of you. I can see how much effort you're making with Alicia. Please continue like this. Don't make her run away. She seems like a good woman." Marcus smiled for the first time in weeks, a soft, genuine smile. "No, Naomi. Don't worry. This one is different. She's my wife, my woman. I won't lose her." And for a while, it seemed like he meant it. Alicia noticed it too. She often spoke to Naomi when they were together. "Your brother is such a lovely man," Alicia said one afternoon, her eyes sparkling. "He's so understanding. The other day, I accidentally put too much salt in the food, and I was terrified of how he'd react. But he just ate it without a word. When I apologized, he told me it was okay." I couldn't believe how kind he was. Naomi nearly dropped her cup of tea. "Wait, Marcus said it was okay?" "Yes," Alicia said, smiling. "He even told me not to worry about it. And last week I was running late to meet him at a restaurant, but when I arrived he didn't yell or get upset. He just smiled and said he understood. I've never met a man as patient as Marcus." Naomi was stunned. She didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Could this really be my brother? She thought. Maybe he's finally changing for good. Indeed, Marcus was trying harder than he had ever tried in his life. Every time Alicia did something that would have triggered his anger with other women, he swallowed his rage and forced himself to act calmly. When Alicia accidentally spilled juice on his favorite shirt, Marcus closed his eyes, counted to 10, and said, "It's fine, baby. Don't worry about it." When she came 10 minutes late to a dinner date, he smiled and kissed her cheek instead of lashing out. "It's okay," he said softly. "I'm just glad you're here." Naomi's hope grew day by day. She prayed silently that this time her brother had truly found love that could tame his temper. But one evening, everything fell apart. Marcus came home tired and frustrated after a long, difficult day. When he entered the kitchen, he found Alicia there, laughing on the phone, while dinner burned slightly on the stove. It was a small mistake, nothing that couldn't be fixed, but something inside Marcus snapped. All the times he had swallowed his anger, all the times he had forced himself to be calm, came crashing down at once. Before Alicia could even explain, Marcus exploded. "What is this?" he shouted, his voice louder than ever. "You can't even cook properly? After everything I do for you, you stand there laughing while you ruin dinner?" Alicia froze, stunned by the fury in his eyes. "Marcus, He didn't let her finish. In a blind rage, he slapped her so hard that she fell backward, clutching her face. The pain was searing, and for a moment, she couldn't even feel her cheek. The room fell silent, except for Marcus's heavy breathing. Alicia slowly got to her feet. She didn't yell or cry. She simply walked past him, her face expressionless, and went straight to their bedroom. Minutes later, she emerged with her bags packed. Marcus tried to stop her. "Alicia, wait. I didn't mean it. Please don't go. You know I love you. It was just a mistake." But Alicia's voice was cold and final. "No, Marcus. I'm done." Without another word, she walked out the door, leaving Marcus standing there, shattered. For months, Marcus tried to reach her. He called, sent messages, even showed up at places where he thought she might be. What he never did for any woman before, he did for Alicia. But Alicia was done. She refused to speak to him or see him ever again. For the first time in his life, Marcus was devastated by a breakup. He didn't eat much, didn't go out, and barely spoke. The house felt like a tomb without Alicia's laughter. Naomi watched her brother with a heavy heart. "This woman must have been special," she said softly one evening. "Marcus has never cared like this for anyone before." Indeed, Marcus had loved Alicia in a way he didn't even understand himself. But love wasn't enough to undo the damage, and this time, no matter how much he regretted it, there was no going back. Alicia was gone for good. After Alicia left, Marcus spent several months alone. He was a shadow of the man he used to be, quiet and withdrawn. Naomi tried to comfort him, but he didn't want to talk about it. Deep down, he knew he had caused his own pain. Eventually, Marcus met another woman named Melissa. She was breathtakingly beautiful in her own way, though different from Alicia. Melissa had a strong personality and a warm, caring heart. Marcus was drawn to her immediately, and he liked her so much that he felt a familiar fire in his chest. From the very start of their relationship, Marcus made a decision. "I will not ruin this one." He remembered Naomi's words, the pain of losing Alicia, and the emptiness he had lived through. He wanted to prove to himself and to everyone else that he could change. So, just like he had done with Alicia, Marcus tried so hard to be patient. Even when Melissa made mistakes, he would breathe deeply, calm himself down, and remind himself not to react. "Marcus, control yourself," he told himself over and over. "You cannot lose this woman." Whenever Melissa spilled something, forgot something, or said something careless, Marcus forced himself to stay calm. Naomi noticed the effort he was making and encouraged him constantly. "Brother," she said one afternoon, "I see you're trying, but you have to try harder. Even raising your voice is dangerous. You need to be patient and kind. That's the only way this relationship will survive." Marcus nodded earnestly. "I'm trying, Naomi. You don't understand how hard I'm trying. I don't want to lose Melissa like I lost Alicia." And truly, he was doing everything he could. But old habits die hard. One day, Melissa made a mistake. It wasn't even a huge mistake, but Marcus was already stressed and tired. He felt his anger rise like boiling water, and before he could stop himself, he lashed out and hit her. Melissa froze, staring at him in shock. She could hardly believe what had just happened. "Marcus," she said slowly, her voice trembling, "did you just beat me?" Marcus, breathing heavily, didn't back down. "Yes, and I will do it again if you keep making mistakes. I've been trying so hard to be patient, but you women, you don't listen. You push me." Melissa's shock turned to fury. She glared at him and said with a voice like steel, "Let this be the first and last day you ever lay a hand on me, Marcus. Because next time—" Marcus frowned, taken aback. "What do you mean by that? Are you threatening me?" Melissa didn't answer directly. She simply repeated, "Let it be the first and the last," and walked away, leaving Marcus confused but also unsettled by her calm, firm tone. Days passed, and Melissa behaved as though nothing had happened. Marcus took that as a sign that things were back to normal, and he tried even harder to control himself. He swallowed his anger, counted to 10, and did everything Naomi had ever begged him to do. But one day, it wasn't even a real mistake, just a small misunderstanding. Marcus's temper flared, and this time, he slapped her. Melissa stood perfectly still, her hand on her cheek. She looked at him with wide, furious eyes. "Marcus," she asked slowly, "did you just slap me?" Marcus glared back, his pride taking over. "Yes, and you'll see—" He didn't finish his sentence because Melissa turned and said coldly, "You will regret this." That evening, Marcus came home from work to find a tall, intimidating man sitting in his living room. Melissa stood beside him, her expression calm but unreadable. "Marcus," she said evenly, "meet my brother Richard." Marcus forced a smile and extended his hand. "Nice to meet you, Richard." Richard didn't shake his hand. Instead, his sharp eyes immediately scanned Melissa's face, noticing the swelling on her cheek. "What happened to my sister's face?" Richard asked, his tone icy. Marcus stammered, "Oh, it's nothing serious. Just a small misunderstanding, couples quarrel." Richard cut him off, his voice rising. "Did you touch her? Did you slap my sister?" Marcus froze. "What? No. I mean, yes, but listen, it was just to correct her, He didn't get to finish his sentence. Richard slapped Marcus so hard that he stumbled backward, completely stunned. Marcus's eyes went wide. Did you just slap me?" Richard stepped closer, his face filled with rage. "Yes, I slapped you. And if you ever touch my sister again, I will do worse." Marcus turned to Melissa, shocked. "Melissa, your brother slapped me and you're not saying anything?" Melissa crossed her arms and said coldly, "What do you want me to say, Marcus?" "I warned you." Marcus's jaw dropped. Before he could respond, Richard slapped him again, even harder this time. Marcus was utterly speechless. Richard didn't stop there. He stood over Marcus like a lion ready to pounce. "Listen carefully," he said in a deadly calm voice. Because my sister is not feeling well due to what you did, here is what will happen. Every morning, you will wake up and clean this entire house before you leave for work. When you come back in the evening, you will cook dinner for her. If you don't want to cook, you will buy food, but you will make sure she eats well. Do you understand me?" Marcus was trembling with fury and humiliation. "You can't tell me what to do in my own house." Richard leaned forward. "If you don't obey, Marcus, you will regret it." The next morning, Marcus thought maybe Richard was bluffing. He got ready for work as usual, ignoring the cleaning. But as he was about to leave, Richard stopped him at the door. "Did you clean the house?" Richard asked. Marcus scoffed. "No, I'm not a maid. I have to get to work." Richard's eyes narrowed. "You're not going anywhere until this house is spotless." Marcus laughed bitterly. "I'm not doing it." Before Marcus could take another step, Richard slapped him again, this time so hard that Marcus nearly fell over. When Marcus tried to fight back, Richard beat him effortlessly, pinning him to the floor like a helpless child. "You will clean this house," Richard said calmly, "or you won't leave today." Defeated, Marcus began cleaning while Richard watched. It took so long that Marcus had to call his workplace and lie about being sick. After cleaning, he was forced to cook dinner for Melissa while Richard supervised. For several days, this routine continued. Marcus woke up extra early to clean the house before work, and when he came home, he cooked for Melissa. He was utterly humiliated, but he realized he had no choice. Richard was too strong to fight, and Melissa's silence told him she fully supported her brother's actions. One evening, Marcus broke down. He knelt before Melissa, tears in his eyes. "Please," he begged, "tell your brother to stop this. I've learned my lesson, I swear. I will never hit you again. Please, Melissa, I can't keep living like this." Melissa looked at him coldly. "I hope you're serious, Marcus. Because if you ever try to touch me again, it won't just be my brother you'll face. My father will put you in prison, and you'll rot there." Marcus nodded quickly. "I promise. I'll never do it again." The next morning, Melissa finally told Richard to leave. Before he left, Richard gave Marcus one last warning. "If you ever hurt my sister again, Marcus," he said slowly, "you will pray for prison because what I will do to you will be far worse." Marcus gulped and nodded. From that day onward, Marcus never raised his hand against Melissa again. Even when she made mistakes that would have once triggered his rage, he held himself back. The memory of Richard's slaps and the threat of prison were enough to keep him in line. Naomi couldn't believe the change when Marcus told her what had happened. "You see now?" she said, shaking her head. "You didn't change because you wanted to. You changed because you had no choice. Now you understand what those women went through." Marcus lowered his head in shame. Melissa, however, stayed by his side. One night she held his hand and said softly, "Marcus, I love you. I don't want to leave you, but you must stop this madness once and for all. Our love can only survive if you control yourself." Marcus nodded, tears welling in his eyes. "I will, Melissa. I promise." And for the first time, Marcus truly kept his word. Though their relationship wasn't perfect, they worked hard to build a life together. And Marcus never dared raise his hand again, because now he knew the cost of his temper. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, comment, and share. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so you never miss a new video. See you in the next one. Bye.